bizarre creatures emerging from the murky depths, or spooky hybrids appearing out of nowhere. Beware. The world around us is teeming with mysteries that sometimes end up in the hands of explorers. So tag along as these unusual discoveries are what no one was supposed to see otherwise. How about a cryptid barbecue? A moment like this happened as the Australian hunters got the shock of their lives when they fell upon a bizarre carcass near their fence. This wasn't like any average encounter. It looked like a mashup of a burnt tapir, a lizard that came out of a monster movie. The species had dark skin with scales on its back and teeth showing with one last growl. It might be a special type of chupacabra, but no one knew. It was best to conceal the bizarre discovery, so they should bury it near the fence to hide the strange creature from curious eyes. Vegas oddity. An unusual situation was happening in Las Vegas. Tourists' eyes were fixed on the ground beneath the famous "Welcome to Las Vegas" sign. A strange, symbiote-like creature was moving around. It was black, blob-like, sticky, and had shiny tentacles like tar come to life. Out of them, one got close enough to film the creepy creature. His shaky video showed that slimy thing moving across the pavement. Within hours, the clip was all over the internet. Everyone wanted to know, what was this weird visitor doing in the city? Unseen water creature. A villager couldn't believe his eyes when he saw a weird creature. In the murky water, he saw a species with a long, tube-like body, resembling a sea cucumber, but with a tube attached moving in the water. Shocked, he captured it on camera to share it with others later on and see the unusual sight. It might be a rare river animal because he had never heard about it before. The sighting became a local mystery, with people often scanning the water, hoping to glimpse the river being. Nessie Encounter. The ocean hides many secrets, but some are too big to stay hidden forever. On the Scottish coast, two divers, while regular diving, saw a huge creature with a wide mouth full of sharp teeth appear before them. It looked ready to eat them whole. The strange beast had a weird body, but the strange part was that it had a blue glowing object attached to its body. The divers couldn't believe their eyes. Was this the famous Nessie of the North Sea they had heard stories about? Scared but excited, they didn't stay to find out and swam back to their boat. Creature in Sequoias. Back in 2005, some film students got more than they expected while shooting footage in the giant sequoia trees. A giant ape showed up on their 16mm camera. The footage quickly spread across the internet, leaving everyone shocked. Despite the uncertainty, the video shows a massive, brown, hairy creature chasing after the terrified filmmakers. Thankfully, they managed to escape safely. To this day, the creature in the giant sequoias remains a mystery. Maybe it was a Bigfoot sighting. The debate continues, with researchers still puzzled by the footage. Doc mystery. A tourist uploaded a video that went viral, capturing an unforgettable sight. One day, near the dock, floating in the water, was a creature straight out of a spooky underwater movie. This sea animal's big mouth was open, showing its sharp teeth. It looked like a mix of a decayed dolphin and a shark. As it was lifeless, it should be removed from the water so it does not affect other sea beings. Hybrid mystery. A local stepped out of his room when suddenly a movement caught his eye and made him stop. A species was seen on the floor like nothing he'd ever encountered before. Its body was long like a snake. The creature's upper body looked exactly like a lizard. Was it a new species? A hybrid? No one knew for sure. But from that day on, he checked his surroundings daily, hoping to catch another glimpse of the mysterious lizard snake. Giant crab. A beachgoer spotted a strange thing on the beach shore, bigger than any he'd ever seen while fishing. It had massive pleopods that looked so strong, scaly that they could crush metal. The giant crab crawled onto the beach, its massive body glistening in the sun. The man was amazed at how a crab could grow so big. He decided not to disturb it and walked away, leaving the crab in peace. The giant crab soon became the talk of the town. Sunfish. A family at a beach in California noticed a strange sea creature. As they got closer, they saw it was actually a huge sunfish. But something was very wrong. The poor fish was only half there. Its front part was intact, but the back half was completely missing. They wondered what could have happened. Had a giant shark taken a big bite? Since the sunfish was already lifeless, they decided the best thing to do was to bury it in the sand. This way, nature could take its course without the smell bothering beachgoers. Snake Encounter. In a remote village, an unusual discovery occurred when villagers spotted a giant snake slithering through the streets. Its body shone as it crawled towards the village, creating quite a scene. The villagers watched in shock as the massive snake moved gracefully behind them. It looked like a python as it drew closer, causing panic among the residents. Just when it seemed like the snake might approach, it was distracted by a nearby noise and quickly crawled away. Luckily, all villagers were safe. Forest Surprise. In the forest, a hunter was on his usual trek when suddenly an unusual sight made him stop. There, in a small stream, lay a massive being. When he approached, he became speechless. An enormous anaconda was resting after a big meal. The snake's body had an odd bump, hinting at the size of its recent prey. He quietly backed away, leaving the anaconda to digest its meal in peace. The encounter left him with a story he would share for years, a reminder of the remarkable creatures that inhabit the wild. Root Mystery. In a small village, a strange discovery created a buzz. A local woman unearthed a bizarre thing. At first glance, it looked like a twisted root, but as she brushed off the dirt, she caught her breath in surprise. The root had features that looked oddly human-like. It had what seemed to be limbs and even a face. Some villagers said it reminded them of a character Groot from a comic book. The woman, curious about her find, did something odd. She cooked and ate it. Well, it might be a delicacy in remote areas, because otherwise, who would dare to eat a root? Tree shaker. A photographer was flying his drone, capturing beautiful views, but what happened next shook him. The trees started shaking. The photographer watched in amazement through his drone's camera. A moving tree was seen. It might be a legendary Sasquatch. Maybe the Sasquatch was just upset about having its picture taken without permission. Well, whatever might be the case, seeing the huge trees moving like paper was something really shocking. Whatever the reason, this walking tree gave the photographer the most amazing video he'd ever taken. Tunnel terror. In the darkness of a sewer, an unusual presence was hiding. A brave explorer, hearing odd noises, decided to investigate. As he went inside, his flashlight beam caught a figure with 2 dots in the distance that seemed like eyes. Suddenly, a scary scream echoed through the tunnel. The explorer's camera shook as he tried to focus on the source of the sound. As soon as he came out of the tunnel, it wasn't there. It appeared darkness was its home. But what was it? It appeared to me as a Slender Man, but what are your opinions on it? Let me know. Cave worm, chase.
So we're going in.
A group of cavers went exploring inside a mountain cave and had a terrifying experience when they came face to face with a huge, vicious serpent with sharp teeth.
Okay, Owen.
The worm was at least 12 feet long and very thick. Its gray and brown body looked like a giant snake. But it had 4 legs. The cavers were shocked to encounter such a creature there. Scared for their lives, the group decided to run fast to escape from it. Beachgoers' bizarre discovery. Imagine finding a sea monster on your beach walk. That's what happened to a tourist in March 2018. While strolling along Wolf Island National Park in Georgia, he spotted an odd sight on the beach. Lying still was a species that looked like a tiny plesiosaur, a long-necked sea dinosaur. The strange scene quickly attracted curious locals and tourists to the Golden Isles, wondering if it was a new species or just a known animal that looked different. The peculiar find became a fun local legend. You better be careful during your walk. Maybe you spot this as well. Ancient Awakening. Panic spread in a coastal town as strange screams echoed from the sea. Locals whispered that an ancient monster was waking up from the water. Finally, the military was called in to investigate. As their helicopter flew over the water, the crew heard weird sounds that gave them goosebumps. These weren't normal sea animal sounds. They were very different. Suddenly, officials spotted it, a huge creature struggling in the water. Its movements made big waves, like a storm under the surface. The military watched in surprise, realizing they were seeing a prehistoric beast alive in the modern world. Before they could act, it sank into the sea and disappeared. Bangalore's bizarre catch. Ever go fishing and catch a bird? Well, some fishermen in Bangalore almost did. One day they were hoping to catch some normal fish for dinner, but instead they caught the weirdest fish ever. The fish looked strange, as if it couldn't choose between being a fish or a bird. Its head was so much like a bird's that it seemed ready to chirp and fly away. One of them picked up the fish bird, or was it a birdfish, and showed it off like he'd found a golden ticket. The others crowded around, probably wondering if they could fry it or if it needed birdseed. Who knows, maybe they'd discovered a new species, the flying fish that forgot how to fly. Underground oddity. In the city's underground water channels, a water resource engineer was doing a routine check when he saw a bizarre sight. There, hiding behind the water pipes, was a species that seemed beyond nature itself. The engineer put a flashlight at it and noticed the creature had webbed feet. Its body was covered in strange black markings. He knew he was witnessing an unknown occurrence, a bizarre hybrid that seemed part tiger, part fish. As he watched, it opened its mouth, as if trying to scare him away. The engineer decided not to risk his safety and should go back, not wanting to provoke the creature any further. It might be a result of a failed science experiment. Toothy Surprise. A video popped up on YouTube by an unknown user that became the talk of the town. It showed a fisherman holding a black fish in his hands that looked like it came straight out of a science fiction movie. It had a huge, bumped upper jaw that hung over its mouth, but the real shocker was its teeth. Big, baggy, totally out of this world. As the video went viral, people debated, was this a rare, undiscovered fish? Or maybe a regular fish with strange mutations? Everyone was determined to solve the puzzle of the baggy-toothed fish, but still not find out the actual results. Wallace's Giant Bee. Ever had a bug land on you that was so big it made you jump? Well, one local sure did. A local was having a normal day when a large insect suddenly landed on his hand. Firstly, he thought it was a fly, but when he looked closer, it was a bee. But this wasn't an ordinary bee. This bee was big and dark brownish. This super-sized buzzer was Wallace's Giant Bee, famous for making yummy black honey. The local couldn't believe his eyes. This bee was so rare that people thought it had disappeared forever. Deserted Encounter. Here is a slithery surprise. A local in a lonely, fenced-off area saw a weird sight. He used his camera to zoom in, and what he captured was something really shocking. There, near some cactus plants and dry sticks, was a huge snake. This wasn't your garden variety worm. Its head was moving around, making it look super spooky and dangerous. The local got so excited and shared his snake video online right away. People went crazy over it. Some said it might be a rare Congo snake. The video spread faster, with everyone amazed to see such a big, unusual snake hanging out in such a strange place. Horned serpent. Near the woods, a brave explorer crept through the bushes. Suddenly, he stood in wonder as an unidentified thing was seen on the grass ahead. At first, he thought it was just a fallen branch, but then it began to crawl. The explorer went close to get a better look. It wasn't a normal creature at all. It had a long body like a snake, but with two pointy horns coming out of its head. The explorer stood there waiting for that species to crawl and vanish into the bushes. Mystery creature. One night, a local turned on his flashlight in the dark and got a big surprise. There, right in front of him, was a strange animal. It looked like someone had mixed a wolf and an owl. This odd creature had a wolf's body, but its head was covered in feathers like an owl. It even had a sharp beak. Its eyes glowed in the dark, making it look extra spooky. It looked like a magical hippogriffo from old stories. Nobody knew for sure. Spooky forest discovery. In Barbala, Brazil, in the interior of Chira, a bizarre incident was occurring. Locals came across a species so weird and creepy. It was an odd animal seen lying on the ground that had light-colored skin and looked like a mix between a lizard, a rat, and even a monkey. The locals touched it with a stick and found out it was lifeless. As it was a carcass, it should be buried. Otherwise, its smell might alert other animals too. Humped Beast. Have you ever seen a monster in a lake? That's what a visitor thought when she saw it.
Yes.
On February 16th, 2014, she was at Lake Calico in Chile when she saw a mysterious activity in the water. It had 4 big humps sticking out.
Yes.
She quickly grabbed her camera to film the weird sea animal that looked huge, but it didn't come out of the water. Some brave fishermen tried to catch it, but it disappeared before they could. It seemed like it was an entirely new species. We may never know what the tourists saw that day in Lake Calico. Dock discovery. On January 24, 2020, a fisherman in the United States made waves on social media with a surprising video he uploaded after a day of fishing. The clip showed a strange creature moving at the dock, staring at the camera with its 2 unusual eyes.
What the hell is that? What is happening?
A long tail and what looked like fins folded strangely. People were curious and left many comments. Some thought it was a viper digesting a squirrel, while others believed it was a big fish trying to eat a rabbit or a new kind of ray or manta ray, but no one knew what exactly it was.
Ma, you see this?
Holy shit! What the hell is that?
If any of you are aware of it, then let us know. Water Enigma. Ever go to a lake and see the Loch Ness Monster's weird cousin? Well, some folks almost did. One day, out near a muddy lake when suddenly, splash! Something popped out of the water that made everyone look twice. It wasn't a fish or a frog. It was, well, nobody knew what it was. As this mystery creature showed more of itself, things got even weirder. It had a body that looked like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be a fish or a monster. And those weren't ordinary fins. They looked like crab claws, though it was hard to tell for sure. Maybe it was having an identity crisis. One thing's for sure, fishing at this lake will never be boring again. Discovery in Marsh. In a marsh area near woods, a team of wildlife conservationists found an amazing sight. There, sitting calmly in bushes, was an enormous species. This wasn't just any ape. It might have gone missing. The team couldn't believe their luck. They quietly filmed the gentle giant as it relaxed in its natural spa. The orangutan. It had reddish fur and wise eyes. It appeared it was asking for something, maybe food. After much discussion, the team decided to let their furry friend stay there. They realized the marsh was the perfect, safe home for it. Witching owl. Have you ever heard that owls might be more than just birds? In Mexico, some folks think owls can be witches in disguise. One day, a worker in an old, empty building saw a creature on the ground near the dirt and sticks. An owl with large, piercing eyes. But this wasn't an ordinary owl, and what made it even scarier was the way it moved its head, continuously turning left and right. Maybe it was trying to tell him that, go away. It might be one of the magical owls from Harry Potter. Face fish. Ever gone fishing and caught one that looked like your uncle? Well, one guy in Japan almost did. As he saw, he rubbed his eyes in disbelief. At first, it seemed like a regular fish, but when it turned, what a surprise! This fish had a face that looked almost human. With eyes, a nose, and a mouth. It seemed like it could start talking any second. Who knows what other strange creatures are swimming in Japan's waters? Maybe after some time, it might grow a mustache as well. Next time you go fishing, watch out for a fish that might just want to chat. Tiny mystery. One day, a person saw a weird species that made him look twice. There, right in front of them, was a teeny tiny creature with wings. This wasn't your average bug. It looked like a super small person with wings, like it came straight out of a fairy tale book. But wait, there's more. This little guy had two antennas sticking out of its head, like it was trying to catch alien TV channels. The finder was so excited, he carefully picked up the magical mini being in his hand, but one thing made him sad, that it was no more to show him its moves. Stick sensation. Nighttime walkers in a local park got a huge surprise when they spotted a stick insect under a streetlight. This wasn't your average creepy crawler. It was a giant stick bug, resembling the rare Acrophila titan. So long that it could easily be mistaken for a moving branch. This marvel instantly became the park's newest star attraction, outshining the usual joggers and dog walkers with its impressive skills. It seemed like some rarest insect who was waiting to be studied. Crab thief. One day, a fisherman at a rock near shore spotted a bizarre sight. There, moving, was a black slimy creature that looked like it just crawled out of a monster movie. It was trying to catch a crab for what seemed like a messy lunch, hinting it might be hungry for a few days. As the fisherman watched, he couldn't help but think that he was not the only one trying to catch crabs today. Centipede Surprise. A farmer got the shock of his life when he saw a crazy animal near his fields. It was way bigger than anything he'd ever encountered before. It looked like a centipede with so many legs that moved pretty smoothly. The farmer didn't dare get too close. He just watched from far away. Luckily, the giant bug didn't mess up any crops. The farmer figured it might have just gotten lost. He thought maybe next time he should use some strong bug spray, just in case the giant centipede decided to come back for another visit. Dragonfly Swarm. Insane! On July 28th, a fun day at the beach in Rhode Island turned strange when a massive swarm of dragonflies appeared. Beachgoers were shocked as thousands of blue dashers, a common species, swarmed the area for about 5 minutes. These dragonflies seemed much larger than usual. Beachgoers quickly grabbed their cameras to capture the bizarre sight. They might be heading south in search of a wetter habitat. It was a stunning reminder that nature can surprise us, even in familiar places. That day, the dragonflies took over the Rhode Island shore, if only for a moment. Creature of woods. One night, a villager saw a creepy sight. At first, he couldn't tell what it was, but when he shined his flashlight, oh boy, he got the fright of his life. There, right in front of him, was a creature that looked like it came from another world. It had a horn on its head, like a unicorn gone wrong. Its face was all fuzzy, making it look even creepier. The weirdest part? It had scary hands with big nails crossed over its chest like a mummy. To this day, he won't go back to those woods. It appeared to be a yeti, but with one horn. That villager won't be going on any more night walks anytime soon. Demon of Rocks. Imagine meeting a scary monster while out for a walk. Well, that's exactly what happened to someone in a rocky area. A local person felt an odd existence near big rocks one day as he walked closer to look. There, all of a sudden, a large, hairy creature, white in color, appeared from behind the rocks. It had bright red eyes that seemed to glow and looked so scary, like a monster from a bad dream. It seemed like a Chewbacca, but he didn't know what this demonic creature was doing there. It remained a mystery that has left him wondering. Village's enigmatic visitor. One day, a villager was in the outdoor wash area when coming from nearby was a funny-looking animal. It was small and skinny, but it had huge ears that made it look just like a tiny elephant. The villager couldn't believe his eyes. It's like Dumbo or Snuffleupagus from TV. He told everyone later. The little animal seemed very shy and walked right past without even seeing the villagers. It left him wondering what this cute creature doing here. Maybe it also came to wash its clothes. Legend of Fenrir. One evening, hunters in the woods caught the sight of a creature moving fast toward the woods, the massive figure hurrying, too big to be any ordinary animal. They only caught a glimpse of its enormous size before it disappeared into the darkness. Later, they realized they might have seen Fenrir, the legendary giant wolf from old tales, hiding in the woods. You never know, you may come across such a creature next time during your hunting adventure. Snowy wolf.
You see? It's like...
On a dark winter night, a driver on a remote road encountered a massive wolf emerging from the snow. As he drove home, the enormous animal suddenly appeared, roaming across the road in front of him.
You see? It's like...
The giant wolf gracefully crossed the road. Even animals are civilized and cross the road carefully, but just be careful when going through such routes. Ocean oddity. A family at sea, while gazing into the clear blue water, saw a species floating nearby. Firstly, they thought it was just a normal fish, but things got turned as the creature had fins and a tail like a fish, but its head resembled an upside-down skull. Was this a new kind of fish that scientists didn't know about yet? Or maybe it was a very rare sea animal that few people ever get to see. Whatever it was, this swimming skullfish left some secrets to be discovered. Ningen Encounter. Boaters in Antarctica got the shock of a lifetime when their ocean fun was interrupted by a creature straight out of a sci-fi movie. As they enjoyed the sun, a massive being stretching 20-30 meters appeared from the water. It wasn't a whale or fish, but what looked like a ningen, Antarctica's cryptid. With pale skin, a part human, part whale form, and scary giant eyes, the entity resembled a ghostly merman. The boaters quickly passed near it. Forget ordinary fishing stories. These witnesses have a tale of a suspicious Antarctic merman. Muddy mystery. Ever think fish might be trying to high-five us? Well, some friends found one that sure looked like it was trying. They were near a muddy lake when they saw a unique scene that made them stop. There, chilling in the mud, was a fish head. But this wasn't your average run-of-the-mill fish. This fishy friend had a back that looked like it had grown fingers. It was like the fish had tried to evolve into a hand, but gave up halfway. It seemed like this fish had been hanging out with humans too much and decided to grow some fingers. Or perhaps it was trying to learn how to give a thumbs up, but no one knows the actual reason. Ocean's odd couple. A fisherman was having a regular day at the ocean when he discovered a species that made him speechless. In his fishing pole was a long, slender, tubular body that looked like a living trumpet. But that wasn't the strangest part. As he looked closer, the fisherman noticed a tiny being in the trumpet fish's mouth. To his amazement, there was a smaller fish stuck there, and as if that wasn't weird enough, he saw a tiny chain hanging from its mouth too. Excited by his unusual catch, the fisherman carefully kept the fish intact. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. One day, a super strange video showed up on the internet. In it, there was a huge snake chained to a truck. It was so big it made people's eyes pop out. The snake may be being taken away, probably to keep everyone safe. As soon as people saw the video, they went wild with excitement. Some folks said the snake looked like a titanoboa, a giant snake that lived long, long ago. They thought this because its head was so enormous. Other people guessed it might be an anaconda. No matter what kind of snake it was, the video left everyone amazed at how gigantic snakes can be.